afternoon, good morning, and good evening, depending on where you are. I think it is, oh my God, it's time for Geek Speak, and I'm yelling, I'm sorry. Today I'm going to get to learn some other people's news because I know mine. So if you're joining us today, say hello. Rena, I did turn this on your page as well. So we are streaming in a
Great.
number of places today. Yay! Um, who wants to start? Let's throw it at Phelan. Oh yeah.
All right there. Hi there. My name's Phelan. I work with Pip at Seymour Digital Media.
Oh
We
yeah.
focus on search engine marketing.
Yes.
Mm,
Oh, okay. Introductions. No. I was just diving right in. That's
I
Phelan.
know, and we still need to know who people are that are
Oh, it's
talking.
true. It is true. It is true. We do work together. Okay, so I don't know. Yeah, Greg, you introduce yourself too, and then Rena, and then we'll get into it. And you guys, yeah, I like that.
Hey everybody, I'm Greg with Original 72 Creative. We're a full service website graphic design digital marketing firm in Vancouver.
Yes, Rena.
And I am Rena Little from Little Works Indie Media, and I also have the digital marketing agency in Vancouver.
Right, and our powers combined. So in this group that we are in, Cyberpunk Marketing Geek Mixer, if you don't know, we'll put it in the comments. But in this group, we collaborate as marketers, and every month we get on here 11 a.m. Thursday, the third Thursday, and we talk about what's going on in the news because I think that's what makes us good marketers, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm throwing it to Rena. Phelan, you lost your turn.
All right, so it's social going first today. Right on. All right. So it was actually a pretty big week because Facebook put out its annual or quarterly Facebook report and some interesting things that I've already been telling you. So let's talk about it a little bit more in depth. And that is Facebook link posts are dead. So if you're actually using links to external sources, i.e. your website, you might want to actually reconsider your strategy. So
Wait, what's dead?
um, yeah, the link dates. The algorithm does not
Facebook
like,
link posts.
Oh,
yeah, link post on Facebook. So 87.1% of the links that were shared on Facebook were not shared. And they said about we only get about 12.9% of our newsfeed content in the, and this is specifically for the US, which I doubt is very different anywhere else, were posts that contained links. And what else do they say? 7% of the content that people viewed in their newsfeed are brand pages sharing links. So that's only 7%. So it's a very, very small amount. So if you're not using a ad budget to get your links past that algorithm, then you're going to have to start considering different strategies to get in front of your audience.
so now it's just so you don't want to do. Well, they never wanted to really send people away from Facebook anyway, right?
Well,
No, but they
I,
did this weird thing where people used to share in the olden days, they used to share photos and then they would put a link in the status. And then they came up with these beautiful link previews, which made you think that um,
I
Facebook
remember
wanted
that.
links, right? Yeah. And then now I went back to sharing photos with links in the status, but it's unclear as to whether or not the first sentence actually uses the word link post, which to me means a post made of a link.
Yeah.
The second part says that the content that contains links. So I'm not actually sure if that means what happens when you put a link in the status, if Facebook actually picks that up now. So I'm going to be testing. I'm going to be testing on my pages to see if there is a difference between photos with links versus link posts.
Yeah.
I'm hoping there still is. If not, we're gonna mind you, most of my clients are actually on ads at this point. And then most of the clients that I have, the other clients that I have that don't have a budget, we're really focusing on putting out lives and thinking about link posts as a different purpose for SEO backlinks rather than actually getting in front of um,
That can be
viewership.
big strategy,
I have
right?
seen, I have seen
Yep.
more posts on Facebook where the post itself doesn't contain any specific links, but they do mention and then put a comment on the post which has a link
Yeah,
to where they want to go.
That's right. I forgot about that strategy. And it's really interesting because I have seen that myself and I haven't seen anything bad about it, but I was just on a live with I forgot her name, the big woman from Scotland who's is it
Mari
Mari?
Smith. Mari Smith, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mari Smith, that's right. So she was saying not to put links in the comments, and I'm not sure why, because she didn't actually elaborate on that. But so there's more research and investigating to do, but really take a look at your insights and see how you're performing. So many people are actually still just putting content out there. They're content machines. They write all the blogs, they put the content out on their Facebook, and then they never check back to see what's happening. And that's really important to do that, to stay on top of the right strategy. So there were a couple of other really interesting pieces to go with this research that I would like to bring up. The top links, they did list out the top links that were being shown, and they include YouTube, Amazon, but interestingly enough, UNICEF, GoFundMe, and Twitter. So those ones do tend to get shown more than, say, your website, for example. What I'm not clear, this made me think about YouTube because I'm always being asked whether or not clients should use YouTube or Vimeo, which platform is better. I'm not sure if Vimeo came quite a bit later, so I think it was like number 17 or 20 around that.
We say
spot.
SEO, it's YouTube.
Yes. However, yes, and so, but yes, absolutely. But there are some reasons why people would want to use Vimeo if you're in a creative space.
For sure.
But regardless, I'm not sure if YouTube does better than Vimeo because there are more YouTube users and so therefore more links being shared, or if Facebook algorithm just likes YouTube better because it would. I don't think it would make much difference to the Facebook algorithm because both of them are, not Facebook. So,
right.
Yeah. So I thought that, and I also thought that was a really interesting top link to have is YouTube, since you can share video directly into Facebook, which would make it feel like they would push YouTube content in the algorithm.
They just share the still though, right? Instead of playing video.
Oh yes, that's right. But that's what I'm saying. Wouldn't Facebook prefer to have, and maybe it does actually. I'd have to do a comparison between the YouTube link and the video. I'm sure the video still plays way better, but I'm still surprised to see YouTube even on the list at all, quite frankly.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Yeah. So what is being shown are memes. So the top meme that gets algorithmic push is the word search memes. What are you going to get the most of in the year 2021? Choose your first three words that you find. Those kind.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that is getting the best algorithmic push, which is probably why we're seeing a lot of them.
This is great.
The other one,
strategy.
Yes. The other one is when there's that one that goes around when people ask, especially women, to share photos of them in the comments below when they were young. That's another one that's playing quite well. And then the last are sharing our adorable kitten gifts. So, the cute stuff that always works. So I'm going to put the report into the comments for any of those of you that are really want to geek out on this data, and it's pretty interesting.
Right.
So that's my number one.
Wait, we're moving because that's it for social. Social's done. You guys, we get so tired.
Well, I would just close out the reason why the GIFs are probably so popular now and recent is that they're still in talks to buy Giphy. And so that will probably be one of the reasons why they're starting to integrate it and have it a little closer. Of course, there's always an economic reason underlying it, and they're currently in talks to do it.
What? You just
they're currently in talks to buy them, but right now it's hit a couple snags with regulators. So
Interesting.
All right.
Speaking
That
of
is
buying
interesting.
stuff, Greg, you got who's buying whom? Is that
Yeah, a company, a large company called Newfold Digital, who owns a bunch of different properties, including DreamHost, HostGator, Network Solutions, Crazy Domains,
interesting?
Register.com. Like, this company is a large company, and they own many, like I think hundreds of different hosting companies, smaller hosting companies, domain companies, and that sort of thing. They say on the Yoast site that they've um, what was the wording? Not integrated, but merged. But this company clearly just bought them. Like, there's no way a small company like Yoast compared to this one merged, but they're doing it for optics. But yeah, Yoast, the most popular SEO plugin for WordPress, was just bought by this large company who owns all of these hosting and digital service companies. So it's kind of interesting what will happen to Yoast after this type of merger with a or buyout from a big company like that. The direction it's going to go in, whether additional costs are going to be involved for using the Yoast platform, and so we'll have to see. We'll wait and see what happens. But a lot of times when companies like this get bought out, there's some changes that could be coming. So we'll have to keep an eye for future episodes to keep people filled in.
Now, who said in their head, who watches Friends out there and said, when Greg said merge, did you go merge? Just, do you guys remember? In Friends, there was this. No? Okay.
I don't remember that.
I'm a huge Friends fan, and I don't know what you're talking about.
When Chandler gets married, and he says merge. No, you don't. Okay, it was really
instead of marriage, he says merge.
But yeah, I don't know. There's this merge scene. It just made me laugh. It always makes me think of it. I don't know. Anyway, so we got Yoast, so that's websites. Done a bit of
and basically there's not a ton of stuff that has come up in at least the WordPress web world since last month, which was the big release of the 5.8 full site at first installment of full site editing.
Well, I think that
I would say that there hasn't been a lot of snags. It seems to have been implemented and come over quite nicely. I haven't seen a lot of people complaining about anything breaking. Nothing major, at least. All small stuff. So it seems to have gone off without too much of a hitch.
Right. Phelan, is there any other web stuff that you know
about? No, it's been actually a pretty quiet week overall.
Thank goodness.
The news. Yeah.
Right. And you got some search stuff and we got some Google Ads stuff. That's the stuff I want to talk about. But Phelan, you got editor stuff I don't know about. So do you guys use the AdWords editor? Maybe. Yeah. Okay, so there's been a big update, right, Phelan?
Yeah, it's been a pretty big update, it looks like. And so it supposedly it'll improve the download times for getting campaigns, which is awesome because as campaigns whole accounts get bigger, it gets longer to download. So it's definitely awesome that they're doing that. They've also made the lead form extension. They improved the UI with it because it was pretty glitchy since they had first activated it, and it was best like if you go to the web-based one versus using the actual ads editor. So the lead form extension is going to be easier to use. There's also
I've never used extensions in there. Have you?
I do once in a while. They're not as common, mostly because the UI for them is very clunky.
Yeah.
And so generally I find that extensions are just easier in web-based.
Oh, Phelan's frozen. Now you're back. Is it me? Is it you?
Am I back? Okay.
You're kind of back. So that's funny.
Yeah, I'm back.
Editor. So not every marketer uses the AdWords editor. Rena, is there something like an AdWords editor for Facebook? There's an ad editor where you basically can use things and do things in bulk with the Google AdWords editors or something like
Um,
Facebook. I know, totally off topic.
You know,
And
I'm
it's
not
used on the
entirely
desktop.
sure. I'm not entirely sure. I'm never usually when I do a lot of ads, I do them manually. So I've never actually looked at an uploader, but I can do that and get back to you for next week or whenever we're back.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool. Cool. I
Yeah,
guess
it doesn't
Yeah.
look like it.
yeah,
But
the SEO news that was really fun was Google broke something and all of a sudden said no, it's AdWords it's ads news, and it's the search term report got broken. I don't know if you guys know this. And so the thing they took away a year ago, which was upsetting for every marketer, they accidentally brought back. And when you went in there, you could actually see the search terms that people searched to find your business, and that you didn't even have to get the click. Like it was like it had 0 impressions, so it was just like,
0 clicks.
0 clicks. No, 0 impressions. You actually got to see key terms that people searched in Google, that just impressions where your ad showed up. It was brilliant. I downloaded everything I could, and it only was active for certain clients.
Wait, 0 impressions would mean your ad did not show. So
well, that's what it was saying.
If it showed search term and it said 0 impressions, 0 click, then that sounds more like a mistake. Like
I don't know.
Yeah, no. I saw what Pip had found, and it was impressions, no clicks, meaning that it showed up, but no one clicked on it.
Which is not the search term report used to show just when people clicked. I mean, we had to write little laughs sometimes. I mean, our best example is somebody wrote tree stuff and converted into a sale. So, and they were, I think was one of the best things ever. But so seeing all those was pretty handy, but they fixed it. So that's that, right? For news. I think, Rena, anybody else got anything? Is that it? We got smart bidding.
Hold on. Oh. We've got there's a bunch more stuff there.
I've got it.
No.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of news actually with ads targeting both with Facebook and Google Ads, where they've changed it so that interest targeting for minors is now not available, which I think is probably for the best. And so you'll be able to target the demographic of anyone under 18, but none of their interests. Yeah, and so it applied for Facebook as well as for YouTube and Google.
I don't think that's for the best.
For under 18, it's generally my preference is more privacy on that end, but that's just me.
That's interesting, right? Because I mean, the ads for kids, didn't they take away the ability?
They had incredible restrictions prior to this, which made it quite good. But I feel like this one is actually making it impossible to get to the right demographic. I think one of the best examples about all of this targeting that's caused problems for even people trying to do good things was, I don't know if you know the marketer Todd Maffin. He's one of the people that I follow the most, and his wife uses a wheelchair, and they can't target adaptive clothing is what it's called, when you need to wear something that's different in order for you to put it on yourself or use it on a certain situation, like if you were in a wheelchair. And you can't actually send adaptive clothing ads to people in wheelchairs anymore. And it's sort of like the kids one is a lot like that too. So in fact, what you get is such generic ads that it's almost meaningless. Do you know? So that's sort of where I'm at with that. And I understand, because there are a lot of shitty people in the world, especially shitty marketers, or maybe I just see a lot more shitty marketers than I see other shitty people, but in different industries. But it's too bad for the people that were doing good in the world. That's what I feel. And I think it's sad.
Well, that's very interesting because that brings up some interesting questions to discuss about marketing and it's changing very
Yeah.
with the rules. I wonder,
It's basically we've come full circle. So we used to get over 40 and fat ads because that's all people knew about us, and we're female, and now we're going back to that. Like it's circling back to the beginning. But there are a couple of
that's for people under 18 though. So like you could still target the parents of the kids.
Very little though. It's actually very little. But yes, that is true.
Well, do kids still see cereal commercials on YouTube? No, during their little programming, you know how we used to when we were kids, bombarded with.
I have no idea.
Right? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess none of us sit around watching kids shows anymore. That's kind of funny. You know, we are almost out of time, so let me ask you: are there any other updates? I know there's one that's gonna.
The YouTube chapters is a big thing.
What's that?
The YouTube chapters. So I brought this up a few months ago when they introduced YouTube chapters, which is that it's where you put a marker in on your video if you're going to be, bringing up a certain topic halfway through so that people can easily skip to that. But there's a better reason why you want to do it now, and that is because the video chapters will now surface in searches you do on your mobile app. So there is more of an incentive to actually provide those chapters.
Those chapters
I love YouTube chapters.
So timely.
Yeah, me too.
Like, well, we all do, right? Because you get the information you need in that snippet. And you get rid of all the riffraff. Oh, we have Hey Pip and Crew, and my wife watches SpongeBob SquarePants. Oh, that's why I kind of dig SpongeBob SquarePants, to be honest. Who doesn't dig SpongeBob? That's really interesting about the chapters on the phone, because I didn't even notice you didn't get those on the phone yet. But I mean, who doesn't use them on the computer? Right?
I think you get them, but it's the search function that's going to be, they're going to come up as searches.
I'm excited. I wonder though, because making those chapters is a challenge.
Yeah, apparently even if you do it and it doesn't look like it's worked, you should just leave it, and apparently YouTube figures it out for you. Okay. So that was one of the things that I read, is that there's some user weirdness there when you're creating your chapters, but not to worry.
Really? There's a weird thing that I noticed in the Google Ads editor. And I think it's a little bit up on that update, but I noticed it as I was coming into this room to talk about this. So I'm super thrilled, but audio ads are coming to the Google AdWords editor, which means that's where the audio.
Are they going to speak? Is it going to speak to me now? My computer?
Well, your Google Home. That's
like Siri.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I heard about that
or Google Podcasts.
Ago. I remember. Yeah. Right. Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Google. That should be. I don't listen.
Interesting.
Do you use Google Podcasts? Who does?
No, I do. It's terrible.
Oh. I love it. There's no problem with it.
So do you use it on your? Do you use it on your phone?
I can find podcasts and I can play podcasts. What the fuck else do I need to do?
There's playback functionality. There's a couple of features that
I use. I use the iPhone one, but I mean, are you searching on Google? Because podcasts get indexed, so it's a brilliant thing to do. It's a smart SEO move, I think, right?
Yeah.
And then if you start getting into podcasting, then you can do what are they called? Skill shares on Amazon. Echo? Is that what it is? What's her name?
Alexa?
Yeah, I forget what the
Alexa, right?
Yeah.
So who has an Alexa? Anybody? Okay, we do. Google Home. Yeah. Okay. 2-1. That's good. This is not the news.
I would just note for audio ads that there's a growth hacker that I follow named Julian Shapiro he's tried every ads platform. He said the audio Spotify one was the worst performing one. So it'll be interesting to see how It was the only one he couldn't get a good ROI on. And so it'd be interesting to see how that works and going forward.
That'll be really interesting to see. I mean, listen to where we're all going, right? They've changed a lot of who we can target or how we target. I know age is gone in Google. I think your marital status might be gone. Your income's gone. Um, right? Sounds the same with Facebook. We all, it's strange how it's kind of like expanding and then narrowing and we all have to shift marketing and keep
Do
our.
we know what's driving these changes in the targeting? Is it user focused pushback on the information they have about us, or is it the ads?
I think it's legislation
deciding that they just don't want to allow you to be able to target as well. Do we know?
They're saying with the Google with the search term report, they're saying that it's privacy related because they don't want you to be able to break down that Joe down the street bought a chicken, like
one of the first ad courses that I took showed us how to actually make an ad that we could send to one particular person, which it's changed a lot. So yeah, you could actually rig Facebook so that you could send an ad to one particular person only, which is really and so it's changed so much. I miss those days.
Yeah,
but you could see how that could be used quite terribly.
Yeah.
Who wants an audience?
Sorry?
Who wants an audience of one?
Oh,
well, the example. Well, first of all, if you're stalking someone, that would be a negative, way to do it. On the other hand, you could send somebody a happy birthday message in any way.
Isn't that interesting? There was something else that happened related to targeting this month. And I don't remember what it is, but it was interesting.
We should.
I'll have to report.
We should also mention. We should also mention about the titles on SERPs that is getting changed. So
yes,
it just got verified. Sure. When we were planning this out on Tuesday, Rena had mentioned that she believed that that the page titles was getting rewritten by Google. And we've had confirmation today that people have done a bunch of research and found that Google is changing your titles for you. We'll leave a link to that article because it's definitely worth reading how they're doing it and where they're pulling the information from. But it's definitely something I wanted to mention.
Yeah, I think it's important because we saw it in the wild because of Rena, and so the 4 of us picked through and went searching on Google to see this stuff, and it's a big deal. Like I think this is going to be the talk of the town in the SEO community, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was all over Twitter for a while there.
Yeah, it's good that you pay attention to Twitter. I always want to be on it, but I'm never on there. Greg, you're on there, right?
I love Twitter.
Do we know by rewrite if it's actually changing changing the text it displays from anything you have on your own site specifically, or is it just not using the title and using your H1 text instead? Is it physically actually rewriting and presenting different content?
So what's happening when I was reading through what they had done is basically if you typed in, say Bulldog trading, something like that, and say that the page title you have is dog training, but you do mention Bulldog training on your H2 or something like that, it'll grab that information and then display that because it'll what they're trying to do is scan your page for any content that you're mentioning that is related to it and then display that so that it matches their
so it's just picking different content that you have on your own site. It's not arbitrarily changing to try to make it look
not
like
changing it's not like changing your page title, like your content to they're not like writing new stuff. They're only going to use what's existing, and so that's not going to be like you're a clown school now when you're actually doing dog training. Like they're going to keep it specific to your website.
It is strange, though. We spend so much time crafting what we're going to say, and then just to change it. Ah,
I think I'm okay with that
of
because
course you
really
are.
it's driving toward your content on your site being written well.
Oh,
It
I don't know,
well,
man.
I think it could be good if you do include those keywords and you're actually looking to have a more specific, so you have a more generalized title, and then you on the page you're still mentioning this more specific term that people are using. And if Google's serving that up, I don't think that that's inherently bad, because what they're doing is they're shortening that distance for you to notify them that you have this content on the page. But again, devil's in the details. How are they going to implement it? What information are they going to grab? Well,
Yeah. Is it
you
going
know,
to be
that's
useful?
yeah. So like that's where it could be good. It could also be atrocious.
Right?
Uh,
Peter is saying that he's never heard of YouTube chapters until now. Interesting, right?
Yay.
I wonder if Facebook will follow suit on that one. And we're out of
I
time.
hope so. It's a time saver.
Good.
Out of time. Out of time. Okay, his song is in my head now. I'm slightly tone deaf, so I'm not going to start singing. But
The Hall and Oates song?
yeah. Which is really funny. So, okay,
Love
are there
Hall and
any last things we need to know before we go? Any last tips or, right? You know what Peter's saying? I think it's Peter. Yes, Peter's saying he has a Facebook Live that we all need to look into. So we'll go figure that out, Peter. And we're so glad you joined us. And everybody else who's joined us on different channels, if you do not know who we are, we manage a group called Cyberpunk Marketing Geek Mixer. And we are inviting you all
In Facebook.
in Facebook. Thank you, Rena. And we will see you guys next week for an amazing topic.
how to maximize your
Everyone.
distribution.
Oh, ooh, is that?
Oh, right.
That's Rena and Phelan.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Right on.
Okay. Perfect.
I know it's
Yeah.
not me.
I'll be watching them.